Hi, I'm Angified. I started Angified Presents.
We share the love of music.
It has been medicine and therapy. Nothing else worked.
It has saved many of us. With mental health, we need to open our eyes.
Hurt people hurt people.
We ask that you listen, comprehend, and relate with your ears.
Form that heart of unity and one.
We share on this stage.
Statistics, feelings.
And ourselves.
We stand with the belief to be you, to be heard, and to be original.
We all may be different, with opinions and beliefs.
At the end of the day, we are all brothers and sisters.
We are family.
We ask that you join us in a magical journey with artists from around the world. Open your minds, let in the love,
and listen with your hearts.
We all want a better tomorrow. Be one.
Communicate and look out for one another. And then, and only then, will you find the world.
We will find peace in all the world.
You'll find the world. And you will find in this shining world heroes among us and every boy and girl. Many have been broken, red hearts turn black. Love will melt the ice and turn it back, and you will find the world. You will find the world. You will find the world. And when you find a place called home, where everyone is free to roam, a whole new world, a better place for our children's futures at stake. And you'll find, with music in your soul, laughter in your hearts, together we can grow a better place, with love in us all. And you will find, together we can save it all. And you will find a place called home, where
Versus bad support, how it's supposed to look and feel. We're not going like this and pushing in. Our stomach shouldn't be doing that. It shouldn't be a push up into this area. It should be a down. Like that. Ha! 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 Poop muscles. Sometimes it's helpful to lay down so you can get a sense for how inefficient the wrong ways are. Ha! 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 That's the subtle inward look, but I'm focusing down. Ha! 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 See how that engages too much? Ha! 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 After now spending nearly a week with this album, spot listening to certain tracks that I enjoy, and also listening to the whole thing all the way through from start to finish, I can genuinely say I like this album. It's both familiar and new, and yes, I'm a victim of nostalgia, and I will always miss Chester. Emily's not replacing Chester, and there are several times on this album where I wanted to hear Chester sing. At the same time, Emily's voice really does get to me. Here's my full album review and some of my favorite moments. I love this line. The production vanishes behind her as she's reaching up to that note. Her voice sort of gives out just a little bit where she doesn't quite get to that high note, and the grit sort of takes over. And then she stabilizes and comes right back in. This encapsulates what I enjoy so much about listening to Emily, is that it's left alone, it's imperfect, it's teetery and aggressive. This is the kind of voice that speaks to me, where you're like, is it going to happen? Oh, it didn't quite. Oh, yes, it's good. It makes you clench. It makes you... And then it makes you go, oh, there's so many things about just in this one line. Best part of the Emptiness Machine right there. My favorite part of that scream, and yes, I like the whole scream, is the end where you hear the gasp and that they left it in. It fits with the theme of this album and of Emily's performances and the way they've treated her voice. It's not whitewashed. It's great and it's on point when it needs to be, but they've left plenty of what some may consider warts in there. I love the gasping for air at the end. There are so many albums with great vocalists out there where you can't hear this kind of thing. Yeah, you hear the tone and it's layered up and there's so much effect on it and stuff like that, but they've really struck a wonderful balance. And the way that they've treated this scream is one of the biggest moments on the album for me. I really enjoy hearing the timbre of Mike and Emily together, especially in this subdued way on this song. It only happens this one time in this one section, in this part. That's a very new sound, pleasant, cradling vocals, both from the male and female timbres. She can not only scream and peel the paint off the walls and leave you wanting to, do this, but she can create these soulful, vulnerable moments, like when she leans into Alone and then goes up to her head voice and makes that transition in a way that sounds like she's crying a little bit, but it's still so musical. I like that not only were they not afraid to go there, but they really capitalize on that range. I'm not talking about note range, but the range of character and emotion that Emily can bring with her voice. And the music perfectly comes around that. You can tell that though these songs, this one less so maybe, sound a lot like vintage Linkin Park in so many ways, there's been this embracing of what Emily does well on all sorts of different spectrums and really capitalizing on that, giving her moments to do all sorts of different things. Sing screaming at its finest. This is just my favorite type of harsh vocals. There are notes in the key of the song happening behind that scream, underneath that harsh vocalization that she's doing. And
it doesn't even really register as a note unless you're really listening carefully. She does this all over the album, but this is, I think, the best song for it and the best moment of this song. Because you don't know you're listening to singing. You think it's just screaming. And the more you listen to it and the more you dig in, you're like, oh, there's a reason that scream sounds so good. It's not just mixed well, it's performed musically. It's sung. Broken, desperate, not singing or screaming, just letting your voice crack all over the place. You hear little peaks up into the screen, but this isn't a calculated thing. This is an abandoned thing. I've done a full review of this song, and I love that she basically builds her scream piece by piece. Starts with the vulnerability with her break, leans in intensity, compresses into it, gets more and more engaged with her angst, and then completely becomes unhinged. That's what's happening. Yes, she has great technique. But for anybody wanting to do this kind of style of vocalizations, you have to be inspired by this kind of thing. You have to start here. You can't start with trying to learn impeccable technique. Love the shimmery tremolo effect they did on her voice there. The sunlight, the shadow. Oh, just a perfect amalgamation of wonderful vocal tone, incredible production ideas, and execution. This melody, her vocal execution, her powerful clean into broken parts of the clean, like dirty guitar. This is my second favorite song on the album. And probably my favorite melody. Now, second favorite melody. Yeah, I love the obvious throwback to One Step Closer, and I love hearing her chirp and break and crack all over the place. It is so vulnerable. You just don't hear... That stuff is buried in so many other vocal recordings, or it's retracked because, they don't want that kind of like broken... Yes, you do. It's what makes the sound for me. I enjoy the vocal production on this song. I enjoy the layers. Can't help think about Kelly Clarkson. Yeah, heavier Kelly Clarkson. This one wins the Riffing and Band Arranging Award for how many things you can build around one or two, maybe two, screamed notes. Dave Grohl proved you could do this all the time. Basically just have a chorus and sing the same note and the same words over and over again, and it works if what's happening underneath it breathes, moves, and is enough of a statement to support that what could otherwise be monotony. But it's not monotony. It's great energy because of the way it's arranged. Oh. There's my favorite melody and my favorite song and maybe my favorite execution on the whole album. I love how this melody climbs. I love how she heats up her voice on just certain notes, but she's high and clean, and then there's little bits of grit, little bits of breakup. She has so much control over how she's able to bring that heat, bring that grit in at just certain key moments to make you go, I'm just telling you how I felt when I heard this song and heard her vocal performance and her interpretation of this glorious melody, how it steps up. Also reminded me of a melody that Chris Cornell would make, because there are these ways that they're approaching the notes and building and inching higher and higher that makes you want more, but also makes you sort of doubt if you're going to get it or if they're going to be able to deliver before they fall apart. Like the way that this melody was written and positioned and performed, it gave me Cornell and Chester vibes. I'm sorry, that's just that's it. Thanks for watching and listening to my highlights on this new album. If you would like help unlocking your voice, the potential with your singing and screaming, but don't quite know where to start, click the link below in the pinned comment or video description and join my free course. I'll help you pull things out of your own voice and musical creativity that you never knew were there. And I've done lots of other reviews of Emily and Chester, lots of the new stuff, lots of the old stuff. Check out this playlist to go deep into the techniques of Chester Bennington and Emily Armstrong. We'll see you for more.
That sort of thing. We want to place things.
Wanting to check out another Rosé song, I was introduced to her by her collab with Bruno Mars. I don't really have any other point of reference. Let's see what she's... A voice crack, a whimper out of a note, like when I say it that way, is... Oh, that sounds like it would be ugly. But it's not. It's just what it needs. It's just the vulnerability and imperfection that you don't get from an AI vocalist. You don't get from a whitewashed, ratcheted down, fully edited. I just wasn't expecting that at all. I knew she had a good voice. I was expecting something light and playful with some sort of like beat going on, and the level of sophistication here is... I mean, this could have been something that someone who'd been writing songs for, decades and decades would put out. And she's doing this at such a young age, and it's so awesome. I'm going to be checking out more of her songs and videos for sure. Please leave suggestions in the comments. I'd love to know what songs you think I would connect with the best next. And if you would like help learning how to sing, but in a way where you feel fully connected to how you feel, free course. I'll help you pull things out of yourself that you never knew were there.
I'm not the only one. The federation of the modern need. We throw ourselves against the wall, but no one else can see. The preservation of the modern need. I'm not the only one. And the rain will kill us all. We throw ourselves against the wall, but no one else can see. The preservation of the modern need.
Cut the bridge. I've waited long enough to hear it. Let's do it.
Chorus. It seems like almost every Linkin Park chorus is so hooky and so incredibly memorable, and this album has proved to be that same thing. Genius, right? Other screamed layers in there. I feel like I'm counting maybe five Emilys, 2 clean ones, 2 really like almost atonal dirty ones, and then there's some mic going on, and then there's the main vocal. But the prevalence of some of those dirtier backings are either masked or mixed down when she starts getting bigger and more distorted with the main line. I could know, and you also hear a little bit of that cup thing going on in the production. I like that. I thought that was guitar, but it's Emily in the background. And you have the other note. Wonderful tension and build. Here, even in the flange effect, you could hear some of those layers as the music cut out. On the new album so far, this was great, and I loved the arranging. Loved it. Cut the bridge. Time to keep going through the rest of the album. If you would like help discovering possibilities with your own voice, or you just like nerding out with me in terms of all the things I'm hearing as possibilities in these recordings, and you'd like to do some experimenting with your own voice and ears, click the link below and join my free singing course. I'll help you get the foundations necessary to approach your voice with freedom and fearlessness, and you can start doing some of the things that you hear Mike and Emily doing with your own voice. You can find that link in the pinned comment or video description. We'll see you for more very soon. Give me some fry. Give me a sigh. Is they do something with their tone on purpose. They do something with their vocal approach on purpose to create different textures and different sounds with their voice. And all great voices are a combination of both. Some are weighted more towards the nature, and some are weighted more towards intentional postures. So we can do both with our voices too. Let's first talk about his rasp. Now we're going to back off our intensity as we let just a little bit more air pressure through. Something. And you hear as I'm dialing it in, I'm getting a bit of cracking. It's like I'm on the edge of my voice. Something's got a hold of me. I lose. It's not just a note. There's this arc that happens. See, I started in chest voice. And then I backed off the breath pressure as I sort of closed the vowel. I lose. Come. Try that on a speech level. Lean into a word and then exit it in head voice and see what happens. Sometimes it's helpful to go to an instrument and actually figure out the notes to the run. And then, without trying to learn it too specifically with the instrument, start throwing it into your voice in terms of muscle memory over a particular tempo. But this one is pulled straight out of the major scale. So he's adding a pentatonic flair and accent to the major pentatonic scale. Control! And he drags that or rushes it depending on the vibe he's going for in the moment. Both in the studio and in this live one, he's rushing it a little bit more at the end there. Control! There's that wonderful, bluesy, slidey thing that he does at the end, too. If you'd like more help working on the freedom mindsets and foundational techniques necessary to use your voice like this, click the link below and join my free singing course. I'll help you act on the inspirations you get from other vocalists like Teddy and pull things out of your voice you never knew were there. You hear how much he pulls chest up there? This is not control. It's not very light up there. You can see it in his body language and how he opens his mouth, really pulling his chest to the point of where there's almost this artificial ceiling or breaking point. Control! You really have to work that into your muscle memory if you want to get that in a way that's not too strenuous. He's mastering it. As I've been practicing this song, I've had to thin out a little bit up there just to get through certain parts, but I love how he's able to keep it so meaty and connected to his chest voice.
You're gonna break in my heart, baby. You make a mess of me.
So with all those endings, me, he's rolling around that minor pentatonic framework, putting some other notes in there, but he's using that as a way to jump around. It's really beneficial if you're wanting to get into agility like Teddy Swims to practice these little ornamentations. Like that. The note up there shows that he has command over this rasp. This is not vocal damage or something that he doesn't understand how to use. He can be really intentional with it. Clean it up, back it off, really put it in, depending on how much chest he's pulling, but also depending on how much he's relaxing into sort of the back fringe of his voice, like I talked about earlier. That was cool too. Notice how in his runs, particularly when he's quiet, he lets his mouth guide him through the transitions between notes. Oh, that's huge. You see a lot of great singers doing this sort of thing. It's easy to go, oh no, you shouldn't let that's tension. It's not tension. It's the fact that he can move that around and it's so connected to what he's doing vocally shows that it's freedom, not tension. It's thrown so far back and so far nasal. And lose. Lots of dynamic placement going on. He's not afraid to throw it way back here and then bring it forward for something that's less nasal He's not afraid of nasality at all, though. How many times have you heard a singer complain about themselves sounding too nasal, or that person's? This guy is so nasally engaged, and we love him. Earring there. Intro. Notice how he sort of sings out of the side of his mouth sometimes? That's a tonal modification thing, too. There's so many things going on that are unconventional and whimsical. I've used that word multiple times. He is shaping his sound without a care in the world for how he looks or how he's being perceived. He's fully immersed in the sonic possibilities with his voice and how he can modify them on a whim. That's one thing that I notice in amplified measures in Teddy's voice that you don't see as often in at least modern vocalists, I don't think. There's a lot going on here that's throwback. I love that this isn't drenched in tuning, that it's a raw live performance, improvisational tweaks to the melodies and the runs in this version. Having listened to the studio version to death, I can say that this one is right up there. I mean, I I really like them both. I might actually like parts of this one better just because of how raw it seems. If you would like help pulling things out of your voice based on the inspirations that you have from other singers, click the link below and join my free voice course. You can find that link in the pinned comment or video description. There's all sorts of superstitions out there when it comes to what singers should drink, how they should drink, when they should drink it. I'm here to make it very simple for you. First of all, a little bit of alcohol before a performance or a recording session or a YouTube video can be quite nice. It calms the nerves. It takes the focus off some of the fears you may have going into things. But remember, moderation. No alcohol if you're under 21. Second of all, teas, potions, elixirs, combinations of things, those are fine to drink in different capacities while you're not singing. When you're singing, stick to room temperature water. It minimizes the amount of saliva. You're not going to shock your vocal cords with hot tea or sweet or fizzy things. Stick to the good stuff when you're singing. Save the rest of it for outside of singing.
I love you, oh loves. Do you have those? Do you wanna share them with me? I love you, oh loves. Oh, do you have those? I'd like to share mine with you. Can we share? Are you gonna spread love?